everyone, it's Paranormal with Yuri. Welcome to my channel, and in today's video, you guys, we are going to be talking about a true crime case. This is something that's actually happened, it's real, and it's a very unique case, and it's unique to me especially because, I honestly haven't really heard any YouTubers talk about it, and it's my first time seeing this case as well and learning about it, so I will kind of have like a first-hand reaction with you guys as I go along and read about this case. So in the last video, I explained to you guys the kind of content I'll be posting here on my channel. I talked about the schedule of when I'll be posting these videos, and also I told you guys a little bit about me, and now in this video, we are going to be doing my first official video here on the channel, and it's true crime, and it's about the Villisca axe murder. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think about this case right after the video, and also before the video you can comment down below what are your first thoughts and impressions of this case. Anyways, you guys, so we will go into a little bit about the history of the town of the Villisca, Iowa, and we are also going to be talking about the witnesses, the suspects, and the evidence. We're just going to be going into all of it, and yeah, this is going to be kind of like learning experience. You're going to be learning about this case, but I'm also going to be learning about this case because I don't know much about it. I read a little bit about it, but yeah, let's get into the video, you guys. So the history of Villisca, Iowa. In the early 1900s, Villisca, Iowa, a Midwestern town of 2,500, was flourishing. Businesses lined the streets and several dozen trains pulled into the depot on a daily basis. According to D.N. Smith, a Chicago-Burlington Quincy Railroad employee, Villisca meant pretty place or pleasant view. In 1912, the town built the only publicly funded armory in the state of Iowa. The company housed there participated in 1916 Mexican expedition, World War I and World War II, as well as the Korean and Vietnam Wars. During World War II, Montgomery County lost more men per capita than any other country in the United States. Villisca surely contributed several of her own to that number. Unfortunately for the citizens of this close-knit community, however, these accomplishments will be forever overshadowed by the horrific deaths of 8 of their own. The murder, you guys. On June 10th, 1912, the tranquility of this pretty place was shattered by the discovery of the Villisca axe murders. I'm sorry if I butchered the name, you guys. I hope I read it right. The Moore family, well-known and well-liked Villisca residents, and 2 overnight guests were found murdered in their beds. Little known to the residents was the possibility that their town was named not after a pretty place, but for the Indian word Villisca, which means evil spirit. Oh my god, you guys. That is like truly disturbing. It says 97 years later, the unsolved murders remain a part of Villisca's past that continues to haunt its future. While several of Villisca's historic buildings have been demolished, the Axe Murder House, as it's known, has been placed on National Registry of Historic Buildings. Wow, you guys. So that's a little bit of the history of Villisca Axe Murders House. Let's talk about the crime. So it says, long before serial killers and mass murderers have become a way of life, 2 adults and 6 children were found brutally murdered in their beds in the small Midwestern town of Villisca, Iowa. During the weeks that followed, life in the small town changed drastically. As residents of this small town reinforced locks, openly carried weapons, and huddled together while sleeping, newspaper reporters and private detectives flooded the streets. Accusations, rumors, and suspicion ran rampant among the friends and families. Bloodhounds were brought in. Law enforcement agencies from neighboring counties and states joined forces. Hundreds of interviewers filled thousands of pages, and yet the murders remain unsolved, unpunished. Okay, you guys, so basically, a little bit to sum up what that is saying is that, 8 people were found murdered in their beds. But not only that, before those murders took place, there was other murders that happened as well in the town of Villisca, Iowa. It was a very tragic thing that happened, and a lot of people died in the town. And basically what it's saying is, this town is actually very cursed, and because people think that it is named for evil spirits and not pretty place because of like all the murders that took place in the town and what happened. Now let's go into the suspects. Let's see who might have done it. I want to know like what was their motive, why did they kill these people? They were well liked, everybody loved them, so why would you kill them? What reason would you have for hating them? Why would you want them dead? So let's see, suspects. Okay, let's go into the suspects, you guys. State senator topped the list. While no one was ever convicted of the Villisca axe murders, there seemed to be no shortage of suspects. In the days, the following crimes you could have read about at least 4 possibilities in any edition of the newspaper. Many of the leads, however, were quickly exhausted, and as time wore on, they began to dwindle. Today's historians and those who have studied the axe murders extensively seem to be made up of 3 camps. For the information regarding the suspects, click on the link on their names. There are many who believe Frank F. Jones, a prominent Villisca resident and Iowa state senator, was responsible for the brutal deaths of the Moores and the Stillinger children. Others adamantly insist that the crazed Reverend George Kelly was the culprit. Still others believe the Moore murders were the work of someone totally unrelated to the town of Villisca, a possible traveler, hobo, or serial killer. Okay, so our first suspect is George Kelly, and he is top of the list, but people actually think that somebody, a serial killer, killed these people. Now, I really don't know what to believe here, but there are lots of suspects, lots of other suspects on the list as well, but many people have different ideas of who could have killed the Moore family and also the Stillinger family, or these, 8 people in Villisca. But I just have to wonder, why would they even, why would they want to kill, these well-liked people? Honestly, for my thoughts and my opinions on this part of the case, I honestly think it could have been a serial killer, just because, everybody said that these people were well liked in the town of Iowa, Villisca, so nobody would have like really a motive or, hatred for these people and would want to kill them. So it's totally, true or a fact that a serial killer might have done this, because serial killers, they obviously, they kill more than 1 people, and these killings were 8 people. So you have to think about the fact that, 8 people died, so it's not just 1 person that died, it was 8 people. So that clues up to the fact that it could have been a serial killer, but we don't know who, and to this day this case is unsolved, so nobody was charged for the murders of the Moore family or the Stillinger, and it's a very sad and tragic case, and it's really terrible that nobody paid for this crime, even though somebody murdered these 8 people. So let's go into the victims. Let's talk a little bit more about the victims, since we talked about a suspect. So the victims were Josiah Moore, Sarah Montgomery Moore, and the Stillinger sisters, and the children of Josiah and Sarah Moore. So it was a whole entire family. The whole entire Moore family was murdered that night in their beds, and also the Stillinger sisters. The sisters also was murdered in their beds. This is incredibly terrible and heartbreaking. I just don't understand why, you know, someone would do this. Like, why was their reason for wanting to do this? I mean, obviously, I feel like it did have to be a serial killer because of just, you know, how many people have died. But we're not going to ignore the fact that there are potential suspects here. But I guess they didn't have enough evidence to pull one of the suspects in and say that, hey, you were the one that killed these 8 people that night on Villisca, you know, Iowa. So let's go in, let's read a little bit on the details of the evidence. Let's see what they found. You guys, I don't know why, but I think that the evidence page has been like, it's not found. I don't understand, you guys. That's weird. Okay, you guys, hold on. I'm gonna try something. Okay, anyway, we're back on the page, but I couldn't find anything for the evidence, you guys. I don't really understand. Okay, it's fine. We are going to talk about the haunted stories from the guests who actually lived in the house where those 8 people were murdered. Okay, now first of all, I just want to say that, like, it's a little disrespectful to live in a home where people were actually murdered. I don't really understand why people would do this. You know, again, it's just my opinion. I just think it's tragic what happened to those people, and I think it shouldn't be like a thing where people live there, you know? I think it should be closed off because in respect for those people who were brutally murdered in their bed, you know. I think it's terrible what happened to them, and, you know, nobody should have, you know, their fates trampled like this. You know, it's crazy. But here is a summary about a guest who lived in that house, and we are going to read what they said and what happened to them. So it says here, a summary of my personal experiences at the Villisca Axe Murder House by Pat Busen of Waukesha, Wisconsin. My first visit to the Villisca Axe Murder House was in June of 2009. It was a simple day tour of the house and cemetery, but since that very day I've been hooked. Since at the time I've spent many overnight visits at the house, and not one time have I had any regrets. As far as paranormal activity goes, this house comes through loud and proud. Over the past few years, I've accumulated many EVPs from the house, both live and residual. You guys, I don't know how to say that word, but if you guys know how to say that in the comments, please let me know. I have also called out the names of the Moore children and Lena and Ina Stinlinger, who were all victims on that fateful night, to turn my flashlight on and off when they asked, and they did just that. These impressive paranormal incidents occurred in the blue room where Lena and Ina were murdered, and the upstairs bedroom where the 4 more children were murdered. I've also felt cold spots in the house that I cannot offer an explanation for, but they were there. Based on my personal experiences and EVP captures along with my own gut feeling, I believe the spirits of all 8 victims still dwell within the house. I mean, how could they not? I mean, they were brutally murdered there. I mean, I'm sure, you know, they'll still be around in the house, because every time in every, like, other case where somebody's brutally murdered somewhere, their spirits or ghosts, they still haunt the place, you know? I mean, it's kind of what you would expect, right? Since you are going into that house to find out if they are still there, you know, it's kind of what you would expect. The burning question is why? Is it due to the fear of spirits of all victims? Is it due to the trauma as a result of the incident itself? Or is it because of the house is the last place they knew? Or all of the above? Or none of the above? A couple of years back, I became a member of paranormal investigation team called International Ghost Research Society. And we have spent a few overnights at the house. gathering plenty of audio and video evidence to convince even the most hardcore skeptic that the Villisca axe murder house is most definitely haunted. This house has a mystic all of its own and will rival any other allegedly haunted location. An overnight visit to this house will make most skeptics believers come sunrise the next morning. What happened in that house in June of 1912 was terrible and tragic. I agree, it was really tragic. It was really horrible that these people were just brutally murdered. They were innocent and someone just murdered them, and we have no idea why. We don't know who did it. They're not even paying for their crimes. It's still unsolved to this day, and it's just terrible, you guys. It says it was something that never should have happened. I believe there are many secrets embedded with the town of the Villisca concerning the axe murders that may never be revealed. In closing, I'm glad I discovered the Villisca axe murder house as a paranormal investigation hotspot and a place to remember the victims as well. I look forward to many more memorable visits to this house. Okay, you guys, so that was the summary of a person who actually visited the house themselves of where those murders took place. Now, all I want to say to that is, like, it's just truly unbelievable how somebody could murder innocent people in cold blood. But then again, that's serial killers for you. I mean, they sure as hell do not care, right? And that's just terrible and tragic what happened to those people. And I think that, you know, it was and must have been traumatic to have been murdered cold-bloodedly like that, obviously. So yeah, the place is haunted 100%, and I believe this because if you're murdered cold-bloodedly in your own home, I don't think you would want to leave that place. I mean, you would probably try to, but you probably couldn't because, you know, you're holding on to that traumatic thing that's happened to you, and, you know, it would be terrible. It never happened to me, obviously, so I wouldn't know. And obviously, like, you know, it's just terrible. And, you know, my condolences goes out to their family. I know it happened a long time ago, but I'm sure they still have family lying around who are actually alive. And, you know, even if they're just descendants or something, but that would actually be really cool, you know, to, well, you know, be a descendant of one of the Moore family or even the Stillinger family as well, and the sisters. But, you know, I think without further ado, it's time to wrap up this video now, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the Villisca, Iowa place and also the axe murder. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also comment down, sorry you guys, and also comment down below what you guys think about this case. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.